First contact in the void. The warning klaxons aboard Horizon 7 research station pierced through Commander Reyna Voss's meditation session, their urgent wail drawing her back to reality. She opened her dark eyes, shoulder-length black hair floating in the zero gravity of her quarters as she quickly activated her neural interface. Status report, she commanded, already pulling herself toward the door using the guidance rails. Unknown object approaching the station, Commander, Lieutenant Park's voice crackled through the comm, it's not matching any known signatures in our database. Size approximately 3 meters in diameter, crystalline structure, and it's, well, you should see this yourself. Reyna propelled herself through the station's corridors with practiced ease, her muscular frame adapted to microgravity after 3 years stationed at humanity's furthest research outpost. As she entered the observation deck, the sight through the reinforced windows made her breath catch. The object, if it could be called that, pulsed with internal light, its crystalline facets refracting colors that shouldn't exist in the vacuum of space. It moved with deliberate purpose, adjusting its trajectory to match the station's orbit. Have you attempted communication? Reyna asked, studying the readings on the nearest console. Yes, Commander. Standard protocols, all frequencies. No response. Park's fingers flew across his console, his young face reflected in the screen. But there's something else. We're detecting complex energy patterns emanating from it. Dr. Patel says they're similar to human brainwave patterns. Reyna's heart rate quickened. After decades of searching the cosmos for intelligent life, could this be humanity's first contact? She keyed in commands to bring up more detailed scans. Launch Probe 3, she ordered. Let's get a closer look. The small probe detached from the station's exterior, its maneuvering thrusters carrying it toward the crystalline object. As it approached, the object's pulsing light intensified. Suddenly, the probe's transmission cut out. In its place, every screen on the observation deck filled with rapidly scrolling symbols, geometric patterns that shifted and morphed with mathematical precision. It's responding, Dr. Patel announced, her voice tight with excitement as she rushed onto the deck. These patterns, they're not random. They're building in complexity, following a clear progression. Reyna studied the symbols, feeling an odd resonance as she watched them flow across the screens. Can we decode it? I don't think we need to, Dr. Patel replied. Look at how they're arranging themselves. It's teaching us its language, starting with basic mathematical concepts and building up. Hours passed as the symbol sequences grew more sophisticated. The station's AI helped identify patterns and potential meanings, while the crystalline visitor continued its patient demonstration outside. Then, without warning, the symbols vanished. In their place, a single message appeared in English: "We seek connection." How is this possible? Park whispered. It learned our language just by watching our responses to its patterns. No, Reyna said slowly, a theory forming. I think it knew our language already. The patterns were a test, it wanted to see if we could understand complex symbolic communication before making direct contact. The message changed, Commander Reyna Voss. Grant permission to dock. A chill ran down Reyna's spine. She hadn't transmitted her name or rank. How does it know who I am? The neural patterns, Dr. Patel explained, checking her readings. They've intensified. Commander, I think it's been scanning our brainwaves this entire time, learning about us through our thought patterns. Reyna squared her shoulders. Years of training had prepared her for first contact scenarios, but nothing quite like this. The fate of humanity's first alien encounter rested on her decision. Grant docking permission, she ordered. But maintain emergency protocols. I'll meet our visitor personally. The crystalline object moved with fluid grace toward the station's auxiliary airlock. As it approached, its structure began to shift and reform, adapting to match the airlock specifications perfectly. Reyna waited in the decontamination chamber, her pulse steady despite the gravity of the moment. The inner door cycled open, and she found herself face to face with something extraordinary. The being had taken humanoid form, its crystalline body translucent yet somehow solid. Internal light played through its faceted surface, creating patterns that reminded Reyna of neural pathways. Where a face might be, swirling light suggested eyes that studied her with evident curiosity. "I am Xylith," a voice echoed in Reyna's mind, bypassing her ears entirely. "Last observer of the crystalline collective. We have watched humanity's progress among the stars with great interest." "Welcome aboard Horizon 7, Reyna responded aloud, wondering if the being could read her thoughts directly. "I am Commander Reyna Voss. Why have you chosen to reveal yourself now?" The crystalline form shifted, lights pulsing in what might have been amusement. "Because, Commander, your species stands on the brink of a transformation. We have seen it in your neural patterns, your technology, your insatiable drive to understand the cosmos. You are ready for what comes next." "And what exactly is that?" Reyna asked, noting how the being's presence seemed to resonate with something deep in her consciousness. "Evolution," Xylith replied. "But not of the body. Your minds are prepared for a greater connection, a fusion of consciousness that could unlock the true potential of both our species. If you are willing to take that step." Reyna felt the weight of history pressing down on her shoulders. This wasn't just first contact, it was an invitation to fundamentally change what it meant to be human. "Why me?" she asked, though part of her already knew the answer. "Your neural patterns are exceptionally compatible with our crystalline structure. You have spent years in isolation among the stars, yet maintained a deep connection to your humanity. You understand both solitude and unity." Xylith's form rippled. "You are the bridge we have been seeking." As alarms began blaring again throughout the station, Reyna realized this was only the beginning of a journey that would challenge everything humanity thought they knew about consciousness, connection, and their place in the cosmos. The Neural Bridge. The research lab aboard Horizon 7 hummed with nervous energy as Dr. Patel calibrated the neural interface equipment. Commander Reyna Voss sat in the modified medical chair, electrodes carefully placed along her temples and spine, while Xylith's crystalline form pulsed with anticipation nearby. "These readings are unlike anything I've ever seen," Dr. Patel muttered, adjusting her instruments. "The crystalline entity's neural patterns are becoming more complex just by being in proximity to human consciousness. The potential for exchange grows stronger," Xylith's thoughts resonated in their minds. "Your technological interface is crude, but it may serve as an initial bridge." Reyna watched the monitoring screens, where her own brainwave patterns danced alongside strange, geometric formations that represented Xylith's consciousness. "Walk me through the process again," she requested, maintaining her composure despite the flutter of anticipation in her stomach. Lieutenant Park spoke up from his security station, "Commander, I must again register my concern about this procedure. We have no way to predict the effects of linking human consciousness with an alien entity." "Your concern is noted, Lieutenant," Reyna replied, her dark eyes fixed on Xylith's shifting form. "But the potential benefits outweigh the risks. If we can establish this connection, it could revolutionize our understanding of consciousness itself. And perhaps save both our species," Xylith added cryptically, causing Reyna to raise an eyebrow. Dr. Patel completed her calibrations and stepped back, tablet in hand. "The neural dampeners are in place. If anything goes wrong, we can sever the connection immediately. Are you ready, Commander?" Reyna took a deep breath, centering herself as she'd done countless times during her meditation practices. "Ready." Xylith moved closer, crystalline structure flowing like liquid glass until the being hovered near Reyna's head. The internal lights of its form synchronized with the rhythm of Reyna's heartbeat, visible on the medical monitors. "Open your mind to the spaces between thoughts," Xylith instructed. "Where consciousness meets quantum possibility." The neural interface hummed to life. Reyna felt a tingling sensation along her spine as the system engaged. She closed her eyes, focusing on her breathing, letting her thoughts drift as she'd been trained. The first contact was like a whisper in her mind, alien yet somehow familiar. Colors that had no names flowed through her consciousness. Mathematical patterns that expressed emotions no human language had words for. Remarkable, Dr. Patel breathed, watching the neural pattern displays merge and intertwine. Their consciousness patterns are harmonizing. Reyna felt herself expanding, her awareness extending beyond the boundaries of her physical form. She could sense Xylitha's presence, vast and crystalline, a consciousness that existed in dimensions her human mind struggled to comprehend. You are doing well, Xylitha's thoughts echoed through the connection. Your mind adapts quickly. Images began flowing between them, memories, experiences, knowledge. Reyna saw crystal cities floating in the void between stars, felt the joy of absorbing solar energy directly through crystalline surfaces, understood the profound connection of the collective consciousness. In return, she shared the feeling of wind on human skin, the taste of fresh fruit, the complex emotions of human relationships, the drive to explore and discover that pushed humanity to the stars. These sensations, Xylith marveled. So vivid, so individual. We had forgotten what it was to experience existence through such focused perception. The connection deepened. Reyna began to understand the crystalline language in its pure form, not just symbols, but a complete way of perceiving reality through geometric relationships and energy patterns. Suddenly, a surge of information flooded through the link. Reyna gasped as her mind was filled with urgent, fractured images, vast cosmic forces, tears in the fabric of spacetime, civilizations falling to some invisible corruption. Commander, your neural patterns are spiking, Dr. Patel warned. Should we terminate? No, Reyna managed to say, gritting her teeth. There's something they need to show us. The chaotic flow of information began to organize itself in Reyna's mind, forming a coherent message. She saw why the crystalline collective had been watching humanity, why they sought this connection now. The barrier is failing, Xylitha's thoughts carried an edge of desperation. The void between dimensions grows thin. What our kind detected eons ago now approaches critical threshold. Through their shared consciousness, Reyna understood. The crystalline collective had discovered a fundamental flaw in the structure of their universe, a cosmic unraveling that threatened all forms of existence. They had spent millennia searching for a solution, eventually realizing that their crystalline consciousness alone couldn't address the problem. They needed something else. Something uniquely human. Our ordered perception is too rigid, Xylith explained. We cannot adapt quickly enough. But human consciousness, so flexible, so creative in its chaos, might be the key. Together, we might find a way. The weight of this revelation pressed against Reyna's mind. Humanity's first contact wasn't just a diplomatic or scientific milestone, it was a desperate plea for help from an ancient race trying to save reality itself. As the neural interface began to overload from the intensity of their exchange, Reyna caught one final glimpse through Xylitha's consciousness, a possible future where human and crystalline minds worked in harmony, using their combined perception to repair the cosmic fabric. Severing connection, Dr. Patel announced, and Reyna felt herself being pulled back into the familiar confines of her human awareness. When she opened her eyes, she found the entire research team staring at her in amazement. The neural pattern displays showed residual harmonics between her brainwaves and Xylitha's consciousness, a lasting resonance from their connection. The truth of our purpose here is greater than we imagined, Reyna said quietly, her mind still processing everything she'd learned. And we don't have much time. Shattered barriers. The emergency meeting aboard Horizon 7 crackled with tension as Commander Reyna Voss presented her findings to Earth Command via quantum link. The station's holoprojector displayed the stern faces of military brass and scientific advisors, their expressions growing more concerned as Reyna explained what she'd learned through her neural connection with Xylith. The dimensional barrier breach is accelerating, Reyna explained, gesturing to Dr. Patel's data projections. The crystalline collective has been monitoring these fractures for thousands of years, but in the past decade, they've grown exponentially. And we're just supposed to trust these assertions? General Torres interrupted, his holographic form leaning forward. Commander, for all we know, this could be an elaborate deception. Xylitha's crystalline form shifted, internal lights pulsing with barely contained urgency. Your instruments can verify our claims. The quantum distortions are already affecting your spacetime. As if on cue, the station's sensors blared a warning. Lieutenant Park's fingers flew across his console. Massive gravitational anomaly detected. Some kind of spatial distortion forming 200 kilometers off our port side. The observation windows automatically polarized as space itself seemed to twist and fold. A tear appeared in the void, edges rippling with impossible colors that hurt the human eye to observe. Through their lingering neural connection, Reyna felt Xylitha's surge of recognition and fear. It begins, the crystalline being communicated. The barriers between dimensions grow too weak. The tear in space expanded, and through it, Reyna glimpsed something that defied comprehension, geometric patterns that violated physics, energies that shouldn't exist in their universe, and a darkness that seemed to consume light itself. All personnel, brace for gravitational disturbance, Reyna commanded, gripping her station as the anomaly's effects reached them. The station's structural integrity alarms began to sound. We're recording unprecedented quantum fluctuations, Dr. Patel reported, her voice steady despite the chaos. The very fabric of spacetime is becoming unstable in that region. Through the quantum link, they could hear Earth Command erupting into urgent discussions. General Torres's voice cut through the commotion. Commander Voss, evacuate the station immediately. We're sending rescue vessels. With respect, General, evacuation is not an option, Reyna replied firmly. We're the only ones in position to study this phenomenon directly. And with Xylitha's help, we might be able to do more than study it. The crystalline being moved closer to Reyna, its form resonating with her neural patterns. The human is correct. This station's location is not coincidental. The collective guided me here because the barriers are thinnest at this point in space. It is where we must make our stand. Dr. Patel's instruments suddenly registered a new development. The tear in space was affecting the station's neural interface equipment, somehow amplifying the residual connection between Reyna and Xylith. Images and sensations flooded Reyna's mind, the accumulated knowledge of the crystalline collective regarding the barrier breach. The dimensional tear. It's not just a natural phenomenon, Reyna gasped, processing the information. It's a symptom of something larger. The universe itself is trying to evolve. Through their strengthened connection, Xylith helped Reyna understand. Just as living organisms evolved to survive, reality itself occasionally underwent phases of transformation. The current universal laws of physics were like a cocoon that existence had outgrown. The tears were the first cracks in that cocoon. But uncontrolled emergence would destroy everything in this reality, Xylith explained through their link. The collective discovered this cycle eons ago and sought a way to guide the transformation. We failed. Our crystalline consciousness could maintain order, but could not adapt to chaos. Reyna's mind raced with implications. And that's why you need humanity. We thrive on chaos, adapt to change. Combined with your ability to maintain cosmic order. We might guide the emergence, Xylith completed. But it requires more than just our current neural link. We must achieve true fusion of consciousness. The station shuddered as another gravitational wave hit. Through the windows, they could see the spatial tear growing larger, its edges beginning to fragment into multiple smaller rifts. Commander, Lieutenant Park called out, sensors indicate the tear is starting to replicate. If this pattern continues, we'll have multiple breaches within hours. General Torres's hologram flickered. Voss, this is a direct order. Abandon the station now. But Reyna had already made her decision. Through her connection with Xylith, she could feel the truth of their situation. There would be no outrunning this phenomenon. The tears would spread, multiply, eventually reaching Earth itself. Their only hope lay in facing it here, now, with the combined strengths of both species. "General, I respectfully decline that order," she stated, her voice firm. "Dr. Patel, begin reconfiguring the neural interface. Lieutenant Park, divert all non-essential power to the system." She turned to Xylith, whose crystalline form now pulsed in harmony with her heightened neural patterns. "You said we need true fusion. Show me how." Through their link, she felt Xylith's approval and apprehension. "The process cannot be reversed, Reina Voss. You will become something neither human nor crystalline. Are you prepared for such transformation?" Reina looked out at the fracturing space-time, then back at her crew, humans who trusted her, who had followed her to the edge of known space. She thought of Earth, of all humanity, unknowingly facing a cosmic evolution that could either transcend or destroy them. "I am," she answered, her consciousness already reaching out to merge more deeply with Xylith's crystalline matrix. "Let's show the universe what humanity and the collective can achieve together." Resonance of two worlds. Dr. Patel's modified neural interface hummed with power as she made the final adjustments. The laboratory had been transformed, equipment salvaged from across Horizon 7 to amplify the connection between human and crystalline consciousness. Through the reinforced windows, the spatial tears continued to multiply, casting prismatic distortions across the station's interior. "The quantum field modulators are at maximum, Dr. Patel reported, her dark eyes reflecting the ethereal light from Xylith's form. "But Commander, the energy requirements for this level of neural fusion, it could overload the station's entire power grid." Reina sat in the interface chair, neural connectors now covering most of her body. She could already feel Xylith's consciousness brushing against her mind, their previous connection having left permanent changes in her neural patterns. "We don't have a choice," she replied, watching another tear form in the space beyond the station. "Lieutenant Park, status of the containment field." Park's fingers danced across his console. "Holding for now, but these rifts are getting stronger. The barrier between dimensions is becoming more unstable by the minute." Through their partial link, Xylith shared images of similar tears forming near other crystalline outposts across the galaxy. "The emergence accelerates. We must achieve full fusion before the process becomes uncontainable." Reina closed her eyes, focusing on the familiar sensation of Xylith's crystalline thoughts merging with her own. This time would be different, not just a temporary connection, but a complete synthesis of their consciousness. "Begin the fusion sequence," she ordered. Dr. Patel initiated the program. Energy surged through the neural interface, and Reina gasped as her awareness expanded exponentially. Xylith's crystalline form began to flow toward her, no longer maintaining its humanoid shape but becoming pure light and geometric patterns. The sensation was overwhelming. Reina felt her consciousness stretching, transforming, reaching out across dimensions she hadn't known existed. Xylith's memories became her memories, billions of years of crystalline existence flooding into her mind. "Commander, your neural patterns are completely transforming, Dr. Patel's voice seemed to come from very far away. "Your brainwaves are adopting crystalline properties while maintaining human characteristics." Reina could barely process the words. Through her expanded awareness, she perceived the true nature of the dimensional tears. They weren't just rifts in spacetime, but birth canals for a new form of existence. The universe wasn't just evolving, it was becoming conscious of itself. "The station's power grid is fluctuating," Park warned. "We're approaching critical levels." Somewhere in the fusion of their consciousness, Reina felt Xylith's surprise and wonder. The crystalline being had expected to guide this process, to impose order on human chaos. Instead, their merging was creating something entirely unexpected. Their combined awareness reached out toward the nearest spatial tear. Through their transformed perception, they could see the mathematical patterns underlying reality itself, and how those patterns were shifting, preparing for cosmic evolution. The collective was wrong, Xylatha's thoughts merged with Reyna's. We sought to control the emergence, to maintain order. But true evolution requires both chaos and order, working in harmony. Understanding bloomed in their shared consciousness. The human drive for exploration and growth, combined with crystalline stability and perception, created a framework through which universal evolution could proceed safely. Reyna felt her physical form beginning to change, her cells adopting crystalline properties while maintaining their organic flexibility. Light pulsed beneath her skin in geometric patterns that matched Xylatha's original form. Incredible, Dr. Patel breathed, monitoring the transformation. Commander, you're becoming a hybrid life form. Your DNA is restructuring itself using crystalline matrices as templates. The power grid surged again, systems overloading throughout the station. But Reyna and Xylath barely noticed. Their combined consciousness had expanded beyond the physical station, reaching out to touch the quantum fabric of space itself. Through their enhanced perception, they began to understand how to guide the cosmic emergence. It wasn't about preventing the evolution of reality, but about providing a blueprint for controlled transformation, a bridge between old and new states of existence. We need more power, Reyna's voice echoed with crystalline harmonics. Divert everything, even life support. Our merged consciousness can sustain us now. As the station's remaining power flowed into the neural interface, their transformation accelerated. Reyna's form became translucent, internal light pulsing with both human heartbeat and crystalline resonance. Xylatha's consciousness merged completely with hers, creating a single awareness that was neither human nor crystalline, but something entirely new. Through their expanded perception, they reached out to the proliferating tiers in spacetime. The station's instruments recorded unprecedented quantum phenomena as their hybrid consciousness began to influence the fabric of reality itself. Look, Lieutenant Park whispered, pointing to the observation windows. The spatial tiers were changing. Instead of chaotic rifts threatening to tear reality apart, they were transforming into structured portals, windows into the next stage of universal evolution. The hybrid consciousness of Reyna and Xylath was acting as a template, showing spacetime itself how to evolve without destroying what came before. But their work was far from complete. As their consciousness expanded further, touching similar tears across the galaxy, they realized the true scope of what needed to be done. This was just the beginning of a transformation that would reshape not just humanity or the crystalline collective, but the fundamental nature of existence itself. Through what remained of their individual awareness, Reyna and Xylath shared a moment of perfect understanding. They had become something greater than either had imagined, not just a fusion of two beings, but a prototype for the next stage of cosmic evolution. Evolution's edge. The being that had once been Commander Reyna Voss and Xylath hovered in the center of Horizon 7's laboratory, their hybrid form radiating patterns of light that followed both crystalline geometry and organic rhythms. Dr. Patel and Lieutenant Park watched in awe as their transformed commander interfaced directly with the fabric of spacetime, guiding the cosmic emergence through force of will and transformed consciousness. The containment field is adapting, Park reported, studying readings he barely understood. It's like the laws of physics are being rewritten around us. Not rewritten, the hybrid consciousness responded, their voice carrying harmonics that resonated with the station's crystalline components. Enhanced. Evolution doesn't erase what came before, it builds upon it. Through their expanded awareness, they could perceive the changes rippling out across the galaxy. Other members of the crystalline collective sensed their success, reaching out with their own consciousness to assist in stabilizing the dimensional transitions. But something was missing. Their hybrid perspective showed them that this evolution couldn't be guided by transformed beings alone. They needed to maintain a connection to their original forms, to remember the value of both human chaos and crystalline order. Dr. Patel, they called out, turning their luminous gaze to the scientist. Your work with the neural interface, it was never just about connecting our species. You were developing a framework for consciousness itself to evolve. Patel's eyes widened as she understood. The interface patterns, they could be adapted to create a network, allowing others to experience this transformation safely. Yes, they confirmed. Humanity's gift for technological innovation, combined with the collective's understanding of consciousness, together they create a path for controlled evolution. Through the observation windows, they could see the spatial tiers stabilizing, transforming into permanent gateways between dimensional states. The hybrid being reached out, their consciousness touching each portal, ensuring the transitions remained stable. Lieutenant Park's console suddenly lit up with incoming transmissions. Multiple signals from Earth and the colonies. They're detecting similar phenomena throughout human space. The dimensional barriers are shifting everywhere. The hybrid consciousness extended their awareness, connecting with the quantum communications network. Their transformed voice reached not just Horizon 7, but every human settlement and crystalline outpost simultaneously. We stand at the threshold of universal evolution, they announced. Not an ending, but a transformation. Humanity's drive to explore and create, combined with the collective's wisdom and stability, has opened a path forward. The choice to follow it must be made freely, by each individual and species. Through their expanded perception, they began establishing templates, patterns of consciousness that would allow others to undergo similar transformations at their own pace. The neural interface technology would provide a safe framework for humans to explore these new states of being, while crystalline awareness would maintain stability during the process. Dr. Patel worked furiously at her console, documenting the changes in their hybrid physiology. The transformation, it's self-sustaining now. Your combined form is actually generating new quantum states. The next stage of evolution, they confirmed. Not just biological or technological, but conscious evolution. The ability to perceive and interact with all levels of reality. As if to demonstrate, their hybrid form shifted, temporarily separating into distinct but connected entities. Reyna's human consciousness and Xylitha's crystalline awareness remained linked while maintaining their individual perspectives. This is the true gift, Reyna's voice emerged clearly. Not the loss of self, but the expansion of what self means. Unity through diversity, Xylitha's crystalline harmonics added. Each transformation unique, yet connected to the whole. Their forms merged again, the hybrid consciousness reaching out to touch the minds of all who could perceive them. Through this connection, they shared a vision of what was possible, a future where humanity in the collective evolved together, guiding the very universe through its next transformation. The barriers between dimensions will continue to thin, they explained. But now we understand that these barriers were not meant to be permanent. They were waiting for consciousness to evolve enough to bridge them safely. Lieutenant Park monitored the proliferating spatial gateways. The portals are stabilizing across all sectors. Whatever you're doing, it's working. Not just us, they corrected. Every consciousness that perceives these changes becomes part of the process. Evolution is not a solitary journey. Dar. Patel looked up from her readings, tears in her eyes as she grasped the full implications. You're not just saving reality, you're showing us how to transcend it. The hybrid being pulsed with approval. The universe was never meant to be merely observed. Consciousness itself is a fundamental force, capable of guiding cosmic evolution. Humanity's greatest gift was never your technology or even your adaptability, it was your ability to imagine what could be, and then work to make it real. As their words resonated across space, more humans and crystalline beings began to understand. The neural interface template spread, allowing controlled transformations to begin wherever individuals chose to embrace evolution. Each change was unique, guided by the combined wisdom of human innovation and crystalline stability. The being that had once been Reyna and Xylith remained at the heart of this transformation, their hybrid consciousness serving as both beacon and anchor. They had become living proof that evolution didn't mean the end of what came before, but rather an expansion into something greater. The journey begins, they announced to all who could hear. Not an ending, but a continuation. We are becoming something greater, not by abandoning who we are, but by embracing who we can be. Within the transformed space of Horizon 7, surrounded by the shimmering portals of evolving reality, humanity's first step into conscious cosmic evolution illuminated the path for all who would follow. The barriers between species, between states of being, between dimensions themselves, had not been destroyed, they had simply become bridges to a greater existence. The universe itself seemed to pulse with new awareness, as consciousness itself began to evolve.